Alright, so this could be our initial notes on Mollusca. We're going to be looking at a couple phylums here, but we just wanted to find the general basic characteristics of all organisms in this phylum. Included in this is going to be, if you look down here, actually we'll go there, bivalves, cephalopods, and gastropods. We'll come back to those in a minute, but all of these, whether they're a clam or a snail or a squid, they all have these basic characteristics. The first one is a soft body and shell. Now some have a reduced shell, like a squid. Some have two shells, like a bivalve, like a clam or an oyster or a scallop. They have two shells. And the one that has a reduced shell, like the squid, they have this thing called a pen. Doesn't look like much of a shell, but some people say it is. But all of them have a soft body. And then also all of them have a mantle. And this really is just the outer layer of tissue. We would look at it as our skin that covers the soft body, the internal organs of the organism. So this is your internal organs. Okay, and the mantle in some of them produces a shell, and so if you're like a bivalve that has just an obvious shell, that mantle produces that. And then finally also, there's a few more things actually. They have a foot, and this is really a ingenious thing. If you've watched the video from Shape of Life, this thing can be used for moving, for anchoring, for catching prey, lots of different uses, and it's kind of an amazing thing. They extend it out through their shell. And if you think of a squid, it's kind of a modified foot, and they actually have tentacles and arms, and it's very much modified, but it's really a foot. And then they also have this radula, and bivalves have this, and the snails do. And this is like this long tongue that can like be curled up, but then it has like these little sticky things on it where it can like scrape food off of like rocks and such, and it can roll it back up and extend it back out. And many of the mollusca have that. And then let's have a closed digestive system where they take in food one way and expel waste the other. And pretty common. They all pretty much have that. And then they have an open circulatory system. Now that's most, because you think of some of the more advanced ones do not have that. They have closed with vessels and such. But you think of a mussel, they just have bathed organs. Now they do have, like even a mussel has a heart. So there are some vessels, but in general it's a open circulatory system for that group. And this would be your mussels. Now when we look at in more detail these three groups, we'll give much more details on those. But those are really the basic characteristics of all mollusks, what makes something a mollusk. And make sure you check those out. And so let's keep moving here. Let's look at these last three classes. So then in the phyla you have classes. So you have bivalves, you have cephalopods, and you have gastropods. The bivalves are the organisms with two shells, and I've kind of started you off at those, mussels and clams, and there's other ones, but you did some coloring pages with them just to familiarize yourself with them, and maybe you've done going down to the beach and dug for clams, so you've kind of seen those. But also in there is cephalopods, and they have the internal shell. These guys have tentacles, and they include squid, octopus, and cuttlefish, and they have a siphon. Now these guys do as well, but their siphon for cephalopods is much more specialized. So we'll see when we do the dissection on this guy, make sure you check out the siphon and see how it works. And then the siphon on this guy is for locomotion. He's not using it to feed, but on the bivalve, he is using it to feed. So they have the same structure, but it's used for something different, and even somewhat locomotion and somewhat defense as well, because it can put out ink and confuse a predator. And then gastropods, this is the largest group of mollusks, and they include snails and slugs. Now, some of these do not have shells, like nudibranchs, and there's some other ones. Slugs don't have shells, but they have many of the soft body, they have the radula, many of the other things that the mollusks have. So they kind of fit into that group as well. They're the most diverse. They just have the most members in it, and just the biggest group. So that's kind of an introduction to mollusk. Pretty short notes. Just want you to make you aware of these, and make sure you annotate these, hand these in. Just remember soft body and shell, mantle, foot, radula, and the closed digestive system, open circulatory system. And look at your coloring pages as you're doing them. Look for some of these things. Certainly can see the mantle and the foot and the soft body for sure. Hopefully I'll be back and we can start doing some dissections tomorrow. And see you later.